In the 2017 draft, the Orlando Magic, after yet another year of missing the playoffs for the 6th consecutive time, were able to land the number 6 pick in the draft, which they used to select one of the top high school recruits and a standout at Florida State as a top freshman in the ACC, and Jonathan Isaac, a talented big man who was an incredible defender, elite level rim protector, and possessed a ton of two-way potential with his improved offensive game heading into the NBA. Isaac was unique in the sense that he was super quick and athletic for his size, could post up, but also had a decent jump shot as well. Not the best three-point shooter, but he could hit them from deep, which was valued as he could help space the floor, but also use his footwork to score in the paint. I'm not going to say the sky was the limit for this kid, but there was certainly high hopes for him to one day be a star in this league. But sadly, injuries have completely derailed Isaac's career, so much so that he has only played in 147 games since entering the league nearly 6 years ago. Not even 2 full seasons worth of games in the span of 6 years in the NBA. And what was once thought to be a bright and promising young career now leaves many to ask, will he ever be able to bounce back from this? If you're new to the channel and you enjoy this type of content, then consider subscribing, as it does help the channel grow, and in return I'll be providing more NBA content like this all season long. Now, I want to first start off by saying that I can't imagine what Jonathan Isaac is going through after having missed 2 full seasons, really almost 3 seasons worth of games when you factor in he missed the end of 2019-20 season and more or less missed this entire season as well, with the exception of 11 games. I can't imagine for someone whose life has been centered around the game of basketball since childhood to finally reach their dreams of playing in the NBA, to work so hard to get to the pinnacle of playing at the highest level of basketball possible in your craft, to have that be taken away by injuries. And I know some will say, well, the guy has still been able to make millions of dollars sitting on the bench and doing nothing. The Magic even offered him a big contract extension after tearing his ACL to the tune of 4 years, $70 million. And while yes, I'm sure the money is nice, you can't sit there and tell me this doesn't hurt a guy like Isaac to have such a promising young career and realize this could very well be the end, or at least the end of ever reaching that true potential. I don't care how much money you make, it's still disappointing to be prevented from playing the game that you love due to circumstances that are completely out of your control. And coming from a Bulls fan who had to see multiple injuries to a young future superstar in the league in Derrick Rose, and to have his career cut short, never being able to be the same player again, and how much that derailed the Bulls franchise as a result, hurts for the fans as well. Now, Jonathan Isaac is nowhere near on the same level as Derrick Rose was before he got injured, and obviously Isaac getting injured and having his career derailed likely doesn't impact the Magic and their trajectory as much as it did for the Chicago Bulls at that time. But despite all of that, this is also a brutal blow to Magic fans. And I know Magic fans don't really like me because I made a video a few months back talking about how the future of that franchise isn't as bright as you would think. Didn't realize Magic fans would be so triggered by that. But either way, for Magic fans, this stings. A franchise who have had to go through other injuries to players throughout the last couple of seasons, and this being a franchise that has already struggled to get over the hump and being a true contender. Multiple rebuilds, rosters that didn't work out, and now that they finally have some things going for them, draft assets for the future, hitting on picks like Banchero, Wagner, Fultz has finally gotten healthy and is playing well, Wendell Carter Jr. has been nice for them, they're a young and scrappy team, and they got Isaac back, who was getting limited minutes but was starting to show strides in the right direction. And then this happens. Isaac has surgery to repair a torn left adductor muscle, which will sideline him for the rest of the season. Now, the good news is it doesn't have anything to do with his ACL, which is what kept him out for the last 2 years. The last thing you would want to happen is to repeat the same injury, and they haven't said, not at the time of this recording anyway, what's the overall timeline for return on an injury like this, aside from him missing the rest of the season. You'd have to hope that he'll be back and ready to go by training camp for the start of next season. But at this point, when you see a player suffer multiple injuries at such a young age, he's only 25, you have to start wondering if this is maybe starting to lead towards the end of his career. Not saying he'll never play basketball again, period, but more so, he comes back, continues to have these series of injuries that sideline him for games on end, and then his career slowly fades out of the NBA. As I've said before, I'm worried that something similar to this effect is happening with Lonzo Ball, who is actually the same age as Isaac. And look, it would be different if Isaac's only core injury, aside from the most recent one, was his ACL that kept him out for 2 seasons. But the dude has been injured since his rookie season. At the start of his rookie year, he had an ankle sprain in late December that kept him out for the rest of the season. Ended up only playing 20 games in his rookie season. His sophomore year was the only year he actually remained healthy and played 75 games, and actually improved in a lot of areas of his game despite missing a lot of time in his rookie year. And then in his 3rd season, people forget this, They only remember him tearing his ACL at the start of the bubble. He was actually out for most of that season before they suspended the year due to the pandemic. And it was from a post-lateral corner injury as well as a bone contusion that sidelined him from January 1st all the way until he actually returned to the bubble, where he of course tore his ACL at the start of the bubble. Isaac only played in 34 games in the 2019-20 season, including the bubble. So to have Isaac suffer yet another freak injury after finally making his way back to the NBA since last playing in August of 2020, you'd have to think this is a pattern that likely isn't going to be going away. Now Isaac does have his youth and time on his side. It would be one thing if he was going through all of these injuries in his 30s. Players are more likely to recover and make a return back to their old selves when they're in their early 20s, but the challenge there is we don't even really know what Jonathan Isaac's old self truly was when he's really been injured throughout his NBA career. And I really feel for this guy, I really do. To have that mental fortitude, the patience, and maintaining being positive to suffer yet another season-ending injury after just coming back from being out for 2 years has to be one of the hardest things a player can face in the NBA. And hopefully we can all expect a speedy recovery, a full recovery, and hopefully Jonathan Isaac never has to deal with any major injuries for the rest of his career. Again, he's still only 25. He has his prime ahead of him as long as he can stay healthy, and hopefully he can reach that potential that was once thought of him back when he was coming out of high school. Let me know what you guys think. Be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.